Yeah. Just so you know.
Straight or inventions.
Yeah. Hey, no.
Okay, I guess we're ready to roll.
Yeah, we are live streaming and recording, so whenever you're ready.
All right, sounds good. I will call the June meeting of the Italian Village Commission to order for June 11th, 2020, at 4 p.m. Our next business meeting will be June 25th at 2024 at noon. Here at 111 Front Street, second floor, room 205. And then next month's hearing will be Tuesday, July 9th, 2024, 4 p.m., 111 North Front Street, second floor, room 204. Staff, if you could raise your right hand and state your name for the record.
Of course, Morgan Graff, Senior Preservation.
And you promise to tell your truth and best of your ability in this community.
I do.
Great, thank you. We will introduce all the commissioners present.
Brooke Michael Smith,
There were already.
Paige Kaplansky,
Jason City. Ben Goodman. Excellent. And we have, do we have any public forums today?
no, no, it's time.
For a forum. Let's leave this week, this month. Okay, so let's go on to approval of staff reports. And that happens starting on page something.
Should be 4.
Starting on page 4, yes. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the staff approvals? So and a second? Second. Great, we'll do the vote and then we'll go back for abstentions. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? I'll read through for abstentions. 242 East 4th Street. 244 East 4th Street. 1128 North High. 331 East 5th. 1067 and 1069 North 6th. 700 North High. 1077 North 4th. Any abstentions on any of those? Okay. So the vote stands as taken. Can I have a motion for the approval of the meeting minutes from May 14th, 2024? So moved. And a second? All in favor? Aye, opposed, and abstentions. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, well, we are about to dive in, not a formal public forum, but this is Ben's last meeting, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I was gonna, last hearing, I was gonna mention that at the end, so, but I appreciate it, Commissioner Sudi, for.
We'll extol your virtues a little more at the end, just want to remind everybody. So should they?
Yeah, but this last hearing, there's still more.
All of that, and we will, I think, have some nice things to say about you at the end of the meeting, so let's just take one. Okay, let's go into, we already have number 1, move to staff, number 2, move to staff, number 3 is 698 North High Street, IV-24-06-008. Is that applicant in attendance? It's 698. Come on, please. Have a seat here at the table. Once you get settled, we will get you sworn. All right, if you could raise your right hands and just say your name for the record.
Brad McCord. Daniel Chin.
And you promise both to tell the truth in your testimony and the best of your ability this afternoon.
I do. Yes, I do.
So staff will give us their, I'll be back over to you.
Sweet.
So for 698 North High Street, proposed work description is to reface existing blade sign, which is 3 feet 11 inches by 2 feet 8 inches. Sign is to say the 698 Asian Kitchen. Sign faces to be aluminum painted black, graphics to be pushed through acrylic, white vinyl, and digitally printed vinyl overlay. Sides of sign to be painted gold, and sign to not be illuminated. Staff analysis, property was previously approved for 30-inch by 44-inch blade sign that would be externally lit and then push-through letters with opaque vinyl faces with the edges to only illuminate. Under COA, IV 2012-008A. At the June business meeting, commissioners made the following statements and recommendations. Commissioners asked for further clarification on what is vinyl printed and if the lettering is pushed through. They asked applicant to submit a section drawing of the sign to help assist a commissioner in commission review. Applicant has submitted revised drawings with sending two options, option A and B. Option A to be with the acrylic push-through letters to give dimension, and option B is a flat face with white vinyl. Staff recommends to approve application IV 240600A as submitted with any clarifications to be submitted to HPO staff for review and private approval prior to issuance of the certificate with the following condition for the sign to be externally illuminated and not internally illuminated. Basics of staff rec is short form design guidelines, signage page 3.37 to 3.41 and 311613 standard for site improvements.
Great, thanks. All right, what would you like to tell us today?
Well, we have the two different options. Just to make it easier, if the push through was going to be confusing, there was clarification on whether or not we wanted to, or what was going to be vinyl. And it's really just going to be a flat black aluminum face with the push through and then just transparent or translucent vinyl on top. So no lighting or anything like that. It's pretty standard for the dimension. But if we don't want the dimension, we could just do it flat. Either option we're okay with going forward with. So.
Okay, sounds good. Let's talk about it and then we'll see where we are. Ben, you want to jump in on this?
Well, I support staff's position on this. I think that the dimensionality is a good thing. I would even encourage that you, something a staff didn't say, is a different textured material where the black is being shown right now. So if you thought about a wire cloth or purple metal or something like that, and we're always just looking for creative uses of materials. So that said, it's approvable as is. I'm just trying to give you some leeway if you want to experiment with that. And dimensional letters is something else we always look forward to see. So I support that if that's what you're into.
Sounds good. What do you think?
Yep, I agree with what was said, and would also say that option A with the push through would be the preference.
Oh, sure, yeah, Jerry.
Agree with option A. Do you know how far projections?
I don't know that we had it laid out, but it definitely would not be that far. Probably no more than like maybe a half inch or so.
I agree with the comments made thus far, and I think option A of the two is preferable.
I see.
Yeah, I don't have any further comments. So are you amenable to going with option
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
A? All right, sounds good. Anything else we need, staff?
No, just, I mean, our condition, of course, is for the sign to be externally illuminated, not internally illuminated, just want to verify that.
Yeah,
Yep.
That in, but that's,
for sure.
yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Motion for approval?
Sure, motion to approve IV 2406, 006,
008.
008, with the condition that the sign will be externally lit.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, great. Thanks for coming.
Right, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Are you open yet?
No, not yet.
Okay,
Probably looking for September.
okay.
That's on timeline, looking for it, yeah.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, we're not gonna open without this sign, you know?
Sometimes we get surprised.
Thank you, for sure.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, yeah, I get it.
Excellent, thank you. So it looks like number four is withdrawn.
Yeah, we're withdrawn.
Right.
Meeting.
So number five, it's 1062 Mount Pleasant, which is IV 24-06-009. Do we have an applicant for 1062 Mount Pleasant? Okay, we'll skip that and come back to it. Do we have an applicant for 1144 North High? 1144 North High. All right, come on up, sir. And I will just read the application number into the record, IV 24-06-01. Okay, for this applicant, if you will raise your right hand, state your name for the record,
Jacob Gauss.
and you promise to tell the truth in your testimony, best of your ability.
I do.
Okay, great. So staff, we'll go back with you.
Right, so this is to construct two community bar height tables built around the trees in the patio space. This application is in response to a code violation. At the June business meeting, commissioners made the following statements and recommendations. Commissioners stated that architecturally speaking, it is fine, but the creation of the outdoor bar space is something that would need to be discussed further at the hearing. Commission stated that they would like to see more higher quality and details included in the standing bar area. Commissioners have concern of the long-term durability and maintenance of these bar stands, and they would recommend to add more plantings and upgrades along High Street. This would help soften the perimeter, would help with screening the patio space and furniture. Applicant has submitted current photos of the finished bar plant areas. They're included material packets. Our recommendation for this application is to continue application ID 2406010 to allow applicant time to revise plan to be more in line with the commissioner's comments. For more detail to be included in the design, as well as for additional plantings to be added to help soften the perimeter of patio space. Basis of staff rec is short design guidelines, commercial patios and outdoor dining, and 3116 standards for site improvements.
Okay, over to you. What do you want to tell us today?
In this picture right here, I know you guys said something about the bottom where there wasn't flush on the rails at the bottom right there. I did have an updated picture. I didn't get submitted where they came back and fixed that.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I know you guys said it was concerned about with water getting in there, maybe some rust or something like that. So we did take care of that.
So it's, the open tube steel has been
I
closed.
can show you a picture. It's on my phone. I don't know if that's all right, but.
Anything else that you wanted to tell us about this before we kind of go around and chat about it?
Nothing else for me.
Okay, sounds good. So, anybody want to dive in on this?
I'll dive in.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm just going to simply say that I think by and large, standing room on sort of public patio or eating spaces, it's less desirable than seated spaces. And I think that the exception though is when you have good screening, or and best yet, natural plantings as screening. So oddly, I'm going to use Standard Hall as a case point. You might have spoken about this during the business meeting, but suffice to say that while they do have some standing tables in that space, they also have provided some plantings along the High Street edge of the property. So I don't think that it's impossible to have standing bar spaces inside the your particular restaurant property, but it would be a lot easier to approve if there were certain kinds of enhancements along the edge.
That's not a problem. Any landscaping I will definitely take into consideration.
Consider if we do continue this, how to do a landscape. They can propose a landscape. That's all I.
Okay, Pedro, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with the landscape conditions. I think it would be helpful for the perimeter of the patio. And I think some of the comments at the business meeting were just making sure that these will hold up over time and be less maintenance. So appreciate the update as far as the covering of the wood bar and the caps for the tube steel. So those kind of two items help my concerns as far as maintenance goes in the future.
Okay, thank you.
What are you, Joe?
I don't think I have anything else.
Okay, bro.
I don't have, really anything to add. I think, other than the landscape would be a definite plus in this. Maybe you could bury that conduit that's under these things. That'd be helpful.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get real specific on this. I don't even know, because I don't know which one of these little patches is in your right of way, which is in the right of way, which one's on your property. So back when this first got redone and then the city streetscape got redone, a lot of great things happened and also a couple of weird spots resulted that just haven't quite worked out that well. So what we're hoping is this could be an opportunity to maybe help you and help us make those spots work a little better. And that said, we're gonna have to work with staff to see where this is even allowed to happen. The three places in particular I'm most interested in, honestly, even more so than in patio, is there used to be a couple street trees along Fourth that are now just like weedy little boxes.
Yep.
So it'd be great if something was in there. Honestly, even if it wasn't, we couldn't do a street tree, if they were just like actually planted as something or, just, and then the other one, and I don't even know if this is on your property, but that little kind of like, I don't know, hexagon, not even like,
Right there by the parking lot.
yeah, right there by the door.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just a spot for everybody to walk
Yeah,
across.
right there, yeah.
So, it's like in all these designs, there's a lot of good ideas on it when you look at it and plan, and then when it's out there in the real world and people walk across the thing, it doesn't work out. So I think for me, those are the two spots where I would most love to see addressed. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I mean, I'm just talking something as basic as, some, like a tree in the middle of that would make people not walk right through the middle of it. And then just some basic ground cover. It's like little things like that would just make, like, if I was walking here, I would walk right through the middle of that too. It's like, not just a muddy patch of garbage, why not?
Right.
Whereas if there's a tree right in the middle, obviously I'm not gonna smack into a tree. And then if there's planting, I would go around it. So for me, I think those would be great. I'm really honestly more interested in that than what happens inside the patio, because I think that would be a real additive thing to the neighborhood.
Is that something you guys want to follow up an email about or something, like to see what we're allowed to do right there?
Yeah, we'll have to follow up, the city will have to follow up staff and see who actually is like allowed to plant in anything. I know it gets weird that we're trying to do something good, but sometimes you're not allowed to do something good. This is not a problem, so I guess my take would be, it's up to staff. If you're comfortable with kind of working through some landscape ideas with them, or if you want to continue and have us look at it in the future.
Our recommendation would probably be continue just with your additional comments of the tree plantings, but maybe additional planting screening that has been stated by a couple of the commissioners. It'd be best just to kind of get a landscaping plan, which we can work through, of course, with the city, figuring out what is part of your property as well, and identifying that.
Yeah, they're like, and I would be almost identifying what plants would go in there.
Yeah.
From my perspective.
So you're gonna be subcommittee?
I mean, I would be happy seeing it identified it without having like a full landscape plan for Carl. She's not here. That being said, I will be happy to participate if that is necessary. So, okay, are you okay with continuing this? So you can kind of work that out with the city. Obviously, your thing will remain up and you can kind of remain in doing what you're doing right now.
So I'm with whatever you guys want, so.
All right, well, we appreciate your willingness to work with us. So we're going to continue this, and that just means you continue to work with staff to try and figure out these details.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, sounds good to you. Sounds good to us. Can I have a motion to continue?
I move on application 06-010 to continue to see if the applicant more time to provide materials for us here tonight.
Sounds good. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, thanks a lot. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so that takes us back to my agenda. Okay, no one else came in, right? For the previous one?
I'm not sure if we want to call out again.
Okay, I'll call just to make sure. Did anyone come in for 1062 Mount Pleasant? Nope. Okay. We've been moving ahead. We will go to 40 East Prescott. 40 East Prescott. And that is ID-24-06-011. Once you get settled, we get you sworn. All right, whenever you're ready, if you could just raise your right hand, state your name for the record.
Yeah, it's Will Lena with Outdoor Space Design.
And you promise to tell the truth and testimony to the best of your ability is accurate.
I do.
Excellent. All right, staff.
Great. So, the personal description for 40 Prescott is installation of new fence screening around AC unit, installation of various landscape plantings with stone edging on the south structure, replacement of 6-foot tall dog-eared fence with new cedar privacy fence or gate, fence to be stained black, addition of a new 6-foot tall trellis, addition of masonry fireplace and seawall along east side of property, fireplace to be honed concrete block with stone capped. The fireplace will be 10 feet tall from grade, and the seawall to be 18 inches tall from grade. Install thermal bluestone patio running bond pattern using 18-inch by 36-inch stone. Stones to be set on aggregate base. Installing new freestanding hot tub with wood decking around the built-in bench, decking to be thermally treated ash. Installation of various new plantings and landscape plan for the rear yard as well. Staff analysis at the June business meeting, commissioners made the following statements and recommendations. Commissioners asked if screening for AC units were included in the application. They stated that the fencing detail is more modern than the guidelines. They requested applicants submit detailed drawing of retaining wall with what is proposed to be on top in order to verify the overall height from grade. Commissioners stated that they could support the fence if it included a crown top in order to shed water. They requested additional plantings, landscaping in order to shield the oven. They requested height of the retaining wall as well as the evergreens that are proposed for the front. Applicant has responded with the following. There will be screening installed for the AC unit, which will match the fence, I believe. The privacy fencing will be more traditional in appearance on the outer face, and they will have included an elevation drawing showing that. They noted that the retaining wall will be 4 inches to 6 inches limestone curb set on aggregate. The purpose is to keep them all within the planting bed, and the evergreens will be 10 feet tall. Brake metal has been added to the top of the fencing. And there'll be a tall hedge behind the fireplace that will completely block it from view. Staff note, the fence shown in the photos appears to have the picket spacing toward, sorry, have the picket spacing towards the yard and does appear newer. Is this existing fence within the property line or is it a neighbor's property line? It's just a clarification question we have. We recommend to approve application ID 2406011 as submitted with any clarifications to be submitted to HBO staff for review and approval prior to issuance of the certificate with the following condition. For the fence to be the same design on the interior side as proposed for the exterior for the traditional side-by-side board. Basis of staff rec is a time bill of guidelines, patios, page 18, fences, page 16. And that is all.
Okay, thank you. All right, over to you.
No, I think that sums it up.
So I think the one thing that was unclear, so are you all in agreement on the fence or is there still something we're working out on the fence? Were you in agreement with what they read, the new submittal?
We would agree to have the outward face design just throughout the interior and the exterior, if that makes sense. Instead of the design of this proposed right now.
So just if you could explain real quickly, so the rear fence elevation, is that just internal?
Yeah, the fence will be finished differently on the inside as the outside.
Yeah.
Outward face of the fence, so towards the public right of way, towards the neighbors would be the outward face elevation. There's a photograph on the actual drawing. It's a gray fence there to the right there. So that was what we're hoping the interior elevation would look like. So it won't be able to be viewed from any angle other than the actual residence, so.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think.
The plantings are on property.
Mhm. All the improvements are within the property line.
Okay, all right, let's talk this through. Paige, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, one question, the AC units, the screen there, you said it'll be similar to the rest of the fencing. Will it be 6 feet tall as well, or would that be?
It's labeled 48 inches tall off grade.
Thank you for clarifying. I'm actually, I think, okay with the two-sided fence. I appreciate that maybe the homeowner wants a specific look with their inside and that you guys are paying attention to the kind of standards for the neighborhood as well. So I'd be okay approving that. There was a comment about kind of longevity of the fence. And often we see that like top rail having a bit of a slope to it or so that water does fall off and it just helps in the long run in the neighborhood with fence replacements. So that'd be something that could be an option to look into. And then I just wanted to say, I think the outdoor fireplace and the height is something that we don't see very often. But to me, since you've kind of given that buffer with the taller trees from any kind of neighboring property, it's acceptable for the neighborhood.
Great.
Sure, what do you think?
Just a clarification on the screen fence, is that gonna be the outward or the inward facing design?
The screening fence around the air conditioning units,
Yes, sir.
we'll probably just keep that, it would just be the traditional, out, I guess, the outward face of fence. It would look weird for it to be different in context. We're hoping that matches. It's partly because we don't want the air conditioners to be stolen. It's just one layer against, we've been seeing that. So, just one layer of protection against that, them walking away, right? So, um,
I think it's really nice. I think everything you're doing is very nice, and again, as Paige indicated, I think you probably already have considered this, but just the little bit of a crown on the fence, top rail makes sense, but I think you know that. The only thing I would say is that your landscaping, I'm assuming that might be like a horn beam.
yeah,
They feel really tight and you know, that will definitely be a edge at some point. And if they have enough air movement around them to stay healthy, but again, I think you probably are in tune with the how these trees should be.
yes.
More than I am.
Yeah, in Europe, they're planted 12 inches on center. And they plant them small. These are gonna be going in the ground in a 20-gallon container. So I think if we had a large ball and burlap plant, we'd be maybe more worried about that. But I think we'll be able to have a healthy maintenance, package to get the hedge to be contiguous as well as has air separation from the fireplace and the fence. So it's pretty important that we have that hedge because there has been applications for the adjacent property for large scale redevelopment, and my client is not interested in seeing that. So
Right.
we're hoping for a tall hedge there. So.
Right. Well, I think it's a really nice solution.
Good.
A lot of questions.
Thanks, Brooke. Yeah, I think it looks great. And I'll let Ben give his opinion in a second. I just want to mention one thing. If you could do us a favor standpoint, if you could relabel your drawing so that instead of a deck, it said a surround or a platform, because we don't actually allow decks, and it's kind of a semantic thing with us. But a deck in our mind is a traditional sort of lattice underneath, it basically
Yeah.
a suburban style. That's not what you're building.
No.
You're building a surround or a platform.
Yeah.
And the only reason we want you to change it on there is so that when someone tracks down miraculously this one drawing that said deck on it of the 600 drawings we have, it says you allowed a deck. Say, no, we didn't allow a deck. If you want to build it like this, then you're absolutely allowed to do it. So that is the only request. I think it looks great. It's a really nice, well thought out investment in the backyard. Ben, what do you think?
I think that the main things that I was concerned about coming in tonight were the things of height. I think that Commissioner Kaplanski said it correctly. It's like it's been nicely screened, the fireplace. I think the inward outward fence, even though it's not the same on the inside outside, is the outward facing is perfectly appropriate. The other question I had coming into this is a low wall, correct? What is
I think it's probably best described as a curb,
curve? Okay.
4 to 6 inch curb.
I just want to make sure nothing high was, or tall was out on the street side portion of the property. But here's a big one I hadn't really thought about, and that is, are we talking about a permeable patio here?
Yes,
So it's pavers on a gravel bed,
yes,
no concrete.
no.
All right, well then I am supportive of this application as a sticking survey.
Okay, any other questions for you before we take a vote?
Nope.
From you, Ren? Okay, do I have a motion for approval? Or any kind of motion, I guess.
I move on application 06-011 40 East Prescott Avenue to approve as submitted here tonight. I don't think there were any stipulations. There's suggestion of changing terminology on the plan before you resubmit.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Coming in.
I don't believe so. I have not honestly. About coming back. We'll go to the end. It's fine.
Okay. 608 North High. We have 608 North High. That's great. This is IV-24-06-012. Gentlemen, I want you to get seated. If you could raise your right hands. Can I state your names for the record?
Alex Coates, Eric Boggs.
And you promise to tell the truth in your testimony to the best of your ability this afternoon.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, staff.
Thank you. This is to install a 28-inch tall and 10 feet 6-inch wide channel letters with faux neon to say Goodfellas over storefront entrance. New storefront sign ban were previously approved under COA number IV 23-05012. Staff analysis, property was previously approved for storefront operations back in May and June 2023. It appears the previously approved signage location and size was referenced as being 1 foot 3 1/4 inch in height from the top of the sign band. At the June business meeting, the commissioners made the following statements and recommendations. Commissioners stated the height of the sign was too tall. They noted there are 2 different addresses in a band. They would recommend adding the addresses to the transom. Commission asked staff to verify the gooseneck light fixtures were previously approved, and they asked applicant to clarify how the lights will interface with the proposed sign. Staff has provided the previous COAs for the property showing the previously approved gooseneck light fixtures and their location on the storefront. Staff note, if applicant owner has not finalized the exterior renovations to the property, this is just a side note, not to the signage. For the COA IV 23-05012A has expired, and COA IV 23-05012B will be expiring on June 13th, just FYI. The COAs will need a COA application submitted for renewal to continue work on the property. Additionally, the applicant has revised the drawings to have the addresses in the transoms. But staff recommends the following 2 options to either continue application IV 24-0612 to allow applicant time to reduce the height of sign to be more in line with COA IV 23-05012B, or to approve application as submitted with any all clarifications to be submitted to HPO staff review and approval prior to issuance with the following condition: to reduce the height of the sign to be similar to the reference sign portion in that COA IV 23-05012B at 1 foot 3 1/4 inches in height.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. No, just based on staff work is restored road design guideline signage, page 3.37 and 3.41. And I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, the question I have, so we previously approved sign height. This sign is or isn't within the square footage allowed?
It appears the length is from the signage location above the band. It's just the height is higher than what was previously seen for that exterior alteration.
No, I got you on that. I'm just, but the overall square footage
Oh, sorry.
is that within that's within our approval
Oh,
amount for the guidelines, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the actual square footage is guideline compliant. Okay. So, what do you have for us tonight?
So the landlord, we're the operators. The landlord had previously submitted plans, I guess, with just the future tenant in mind with his font with the 1 foot tall letters. We have submitted, this is our brand letters that we have at all our locations. And so if we had it at a foot tall, the sign would be very small, almost obsolete to put up here on the band. I understand that the gooseneck lighting is probably going to interfere with our font, if you will. So we remove these goosenecks. There is some confusion, I guess, with the landlord, what he envisioned. So we're going to, I guess we can just remove the gooseneck is what we're suggesting or asking. And seeing if that will satisfy you guys. They could also come off the sides.
Along with moving the numbers to the transom and.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess, Steph, I'm not really clear on. I don't really know the history of what the deal is with these goosenecks. I'm looking like on the street, and I feel like these are old ones that used to be at a different location.
Yeah, there are no goosenecks up right now.
Correct.
We stopped by and checked before we came.
They've been removed. I don't know where that steel band would go according to his plan. It looks like there's enough clearance, but it'd be pretty low to get underneath those gooseneck. And I guess a question from the commission was, how does it interface with the sign? And I don't even know, it would almost be behind the sign or directly on top. The goal would be to get the gooseneck in front of the sign to illuminate a sign. But his previous approved plan isn't super clear.
Yeah, because they had awnings, they had some kind of awning there before, or some kind of extension. Oh, I see. They like recessed the front. I got you.
Yeah, the sign band is lower than the previous approval. The gooseneck light fixtures that are there are not staying. I think they purchased a newer light fixture. Well, this came through in 2023. For either the similar locations or the same.
We can go around. I can say personally, I have no, I'm agnostic on these goosenecks. I didn't advocate for them or against them. They're just sort of part of the thing that they asked for. So for me, they don't really matter. Maybe they do for other people. So, okay, so let's go around and see what everybody has to say. Ben, you want to start?
Sure thing. I support your relocation of the address to the transom.
Thank you.
I'm understanding the square footage of the sign is correct, and I think you should be allowed to keep the font the way it is.
Thank you.
The lighting style is something that's in line with things that we've approved before, so I think that's a positive thing. I would suggest, I'm a little sad that somehow it doesn't wrap the corner because we went to an extra length of kids.
We were told we couldn't do that. We want that because our name is Goodfellas Pizzeria. So we're gonna say Goodfellas and wrap the other side Pizzeria.
Well, I'm not saying that it's a whole other word, although I mean, it's a. But I think because we had kind of leaned into the architect to consider a 45-degree angle entrance, that it's appropriate to imagine the signage having addressing that same sight line. So if you found in your heart to wrap Goodfellas around the corner or otherwise affect the way that sign band works in relationship to the corner, I think those could be supportable. I would support them, those kinds of changes. As far as the letter height goes, if it helps other commissioners, I wonder if you would consider pushing the baseline down to the bottom of the canopy, so.
Below the I-beam or at the base.
So just translate this down, so then maybe it projects above the band only roughly 4 inches that we saw before. But I think that's a detail. And as far as if you wanted to search some other option about wrapping the corner, we're going to have to go to a subcommittee or continue this so that you could draw that.
Yeah, I would say we need to figure out. We just don't have a lot of signs that continue back, and this is a unique condition because it's not a street, it's sort of it's a public park area there, so we would have to do some research into what would be allowable on the side. So we don't want to misadvise you right now.
Got it.
We could, though, if people find this acceptable, certainly move forward with this. You can always come back with an addendum or some sort of application. So just want to make sure we're not even though I'm very interested in the idea, I don't want you to leave here thinking you can absolutely like put pizzeria in the same size down the side.
We're fine with this as well. We're open to wrapping, and if it make, I don't know how deep that side band goes, it might not work. Then we can't just do like good and then Ellis. It's gotta be good fellas. So
Yeah.
we're open to that possibility, but whatever you guys want.
Well,
make it happen.
I'm interested in improving as you've submitted tonight, so that would be where I stand, and then that would be up to you if you wanted to not do that, if you got the votes and, revise your application, or, you could take whatever vote we gave you tonight and then decide later if you wanted to change it. So I'm okay with it standing proud of that. I'm more concerned with the materials. And the reason I don't have an issue with the height, two things. One, that it's within the overall allowed square footage. And secondly, that there isn't and what I would consider a real, it's not really following an actual like sign band situation on this building as much as on others, so much as it's above the awning detail and below the window line. Now, if it extended above the windows, I would certainly not like that. Even if we lowered it, I don't think it would be in such a specific architectural spot on the building that it would be like the natural spot where a sign would have to go. You'd almost have to like pick it up off the awning and put it back there. That's not what I'm interested in advocating for. So I'm okay where it is right now. And I like the materials. So I'm okay as it's proposed. What do you think, Paige? Great.
Yeah, thanks for moving those address numbers first. And I would say I'm okay with the height. And I'll say one of the reasons, in addition to what you said, was the building itself has that kind of band detail on it. I think the proportions of the sign with the building go very nicely together. So I think it complements the building. It's not taking away a lot of detail that is already existing on that building. So I would be in favor of approving with, I think, the condition that the goosenecks would be removed from the facade.
Okay, thank you.
I definitely agree with page 16. Definitely square footage and height all makes sense to me. The placement works. So I have no issues.
I think they'll
Oh, goosenecks are gone already, aren't they?
Correct. Yeah.
I have no issue with the sign at all. I think the height of the letters is appropriate. If there was an opportunity to wrap the sign, I think the only thing I would caution is that there's a mural on the other side.
Right.
That the signage wouldn't interfere with the mural that's there. But I like the simplicity of just the word good as one word. And, it's kind of like, if you know what that means, then you're in the know without being so explicit about it. But I'm fine with it. What I do question is that it looks like there were some notes that are kind of covered over to get the dimension at the bottom, the dimension string at the bottom of on page 4, the 25.4, and it looks like there was something pointing to this band that the signage is sitting on. I don't quite understand what that is.
Oh, yeah, there's an arrow pointing to the band.
Is that from the previously
It
approved?
Was, yeah, this was,
It just identifies.
To
it's a
take
steel
the-
band.
the numbers and move them down. They went and just wiped over.
This thing that the sign is sitting on, is it kind of a fake I-beam?
I-beam.
I-beam.
Okay. All right, I'm very good with this.
Thank you. All right, sounds like you got all our feedback. Are you interested in moving forward then with the vote for this as proposed tonight?
Yes, sure is.
Okay, sounds good. We have that motion.
I move on 06-012, 608 North High Street to approve as presented tonight with the assumption that the sticks will continue to be gone.
Sounds good. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions. Great. This is the same as in Over the Rhine, I assume?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, sir.
And when are you planning to be open?
Q4, hopefully.
End of year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good luck.
We'll see you there.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
a lot.
Appreciate it.
All right, moving on to Jeffrey Park Phase 10. Let's go back there. All right, IB 26-06-013. Give you a chance to all get settled in.
Oh, yeah.
Right, chair. Right, you will each raise your right hand to state your names for the record,
Oscar Camacho Cabrera.
Peter Scott.
Matt Negron.
and you all promise to give your testimony, best of your ability is happening. Excellent. Okay, staff.
Thank you. The proposed work description, this is a revision to the previous Jeffrey Park Phase 10 approval. The changes include addition of a fourth floor to the garage at east elevation, enlarged area for the future proposed arc panel on east elevation, simplified stairwell door entrance on east elevation, horizontal metal panels have been included in between the fourth and fifth floor windows on the east elevation of the apartment building. Windows on the southeast corner of apartment building have been realigned for the stairwell configuration. A revised unit layout along the west elevation of apartment buildings. Amenity space on south elevation overlooking the parking garage has now been pushed back into the building instead of cantilevered. Staff analysis. Design was previously approved in October 2023, pending approval with the submittal of the landscaping plan, lighting plan, and graphics and signage plan. At the June business meeting, the commissioners made the following statements and recommendations. Commissioners asked for clarification on the amenity space. Will it be cantilevered or has that changed? Since there's an added floor to the parking garage and it is the same level as the townhomes, will the cornice detail continue from the townhomes through the parking garage? They noted that the green wall is shorter than the previous approval. They asked applicant to describe the relationship of the townhomes to the new level of parking. Will cars be visible as well as the lights of the cars? The commission asked for additional clarification on the fourth floor level lights in the parking area. They asked about the height and type of fixtures. They asked if the garage could be a different, separate material from townhomes and apartment building. Applicant has submitted revised drawings to address commissioner comments and concerns. They've included the following. The amenity space is now pushed back into the building. A rendering to show two material options for the parking garage. A section drawing to show the height of the townhomes in relation to the addition of, to the fourth floor addition on the parking garage, and lighting calculations as well as the lighting specifications. Staff recommends to approve application IB 24-06-013 as submitted with all clarifications to be submitted to HBO staff review and approval prior to issuance of certificate with conditions that the project is still pending final approval with the submittal and approval from the Italian Village Commission for the landscaping plan, lighting plan, and graphic signage plan for previous approval conditions. Basis of staff rec is 311612, statement of construction, and short north design guidelines, new construction.
Great. What do you have?
I'll start. Yeah, sure. Well, so appreciate, I think, the last comments on from the business meeting. Hopefully these new plans kind of address a lot of those things, specifically on how the townhomes communicate with the addition of the garage. The one thing that we're still honing in on the details on is the landscape plan, which our expectation is to submit for tomorrow's submittal date, which address all of the like public components along the exterior of this facade. But everything else, comments wise, should be addressed, and I think Pete, Oscar can kind of speak to that a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, Pete.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, I think we've did our best to really review the comments and address the board's, some of their concerns and looking for additional information. And I think we've done a decent job of addressing, especially the kind of the car lights, the lighting photometrics required, the cut sheet on the light on top of the garage. We definitely are paying close attention to how car lights will affect the surrounding, especially apartments. But we're also looking at other aspects. I mean, this thing does sit on an off ramp as well as on force. So there's, we're looking at all of those, but specifically how it's being addressed for light pollution into apartment buildings. And I think it's stressed well, especially as into the entry on the third floor garage. facing, as you park facing east to the apartments across the street, it's fully blocked. The third floor of the additional floor of the garage in relationship to the townhomes never rises above the townhomes. The cornice line aligns to that. The car lights will always be below the top of those townhomes. But it's also that garage is set back to the back side of the townhomes. So from the main street, 6th Street, it's basically recessed and I think is fairly secondary to the main facade of the townhomes as well as the 5-story building. We did provide a couple options for the material of that of the parking garage at the entry. We heard the board's comments and are looking at different colors and materials and would love to hear your feedback tonight. We do have some brick samples here with us tonight. One of the brick samples we'll call the black, the dark brick. We actually have made a modification to we got a sample this week finally of what was proposed in the packet, and it was very muddy. It was felt like it was really dirty style of a dark brick, which we weren't fans of. So we quickly ran over and had a meeting with Hamilton Parker actually about 2 hours ago and got an alternate. We have that here today for you to look at. So definitely a little cleaner. It works better with the brick that's in the neighborhood. It's not an exact match, but it definitely works well with that. Here's a good example of the previous submittal on the top image showing the 2 stories. The addition of the 3rd floor with that protective crash wall, which gives some mass to that garage, but also is providing that protection from the car light pollution facing the apartments to the east.
Any other thoughts before we walk through the comments of the commission?
No, I think that's a quick summary. So,
okay. Well, we are lucky to have all of our architects here today, so we can work our way through the end of the table here for any comments. Brooke, you want to start or want to take a minute?
I can start. I might come back because this architect doesn't have this submission downloaded. Apologies. So this is the first time I'm seeing this. And as I'm looking at this, the renderings here with the 2 different options, I'm struggling with which one I prefer. I think I prefer the one on the left because it just feels richer and doesn't just feel like another concrete parking garage as the one on the right does. That said, I appreciate everything, all the comments and how you've responded to the comments that were raised at the business meeting. And from there, I'll let the others weigh in, and then if I have a bright idea, I'll share it.
Teacher.
I like the brick option better as well. I think the one on the right was too concrete, so I definitely agree with that statement. So, maybe if there's a darker panel that closely resembles some of the other facade materials, then that might be a better option. But right now, I do like the brick option. And then you have it labeled as part panel / green wall. Is there preference? So I'm newer to the commission, so I'm not as familiar with the project, but is it going to be?
So I think right now we've just been identifying locations for public art. So for a lot of these projects that we've been working on this far, as well as some momentum that we had made in the past with the SID in their art program, we've just been giving opportunities to install some public art, create and continue with some of the momentum that they've had thus far.
Okay. And, being mindful of previous conversations we've had with this board about exterior green walls, especially multi-story maintenance of that and the challenges that can be had. We lean more towards the art panels because it's something that can be rotating. It's something that can be, dramatically change areas of the building over time and without any real maintenance of, watering and the challenges of green walls. So
You've got other landscape material on the site, correct?
yes,
If I remember correctly, there was a green wall in this.
we had a green panel, a 1-story green panel around by the pocket park, and then we originally proposed a 2-story 2 or 3 story green wall at the north entry lobby, which is where the bulk of that discussion in our last meeting was about.
I think from a maintenance perspective, I would like a burn panel, but get part of my case to other conversations with the board has.
And that will still need to be submitted for application or, you know, for COA review for the art paneling and brackets and signage and stuff like that. In this case.
So
Yeah, thanks for bringing the options. I think it helps see side by sides. I think I might have been the one saying the comments about I think the real thing was the relief was nice when the parking lot was, a story lower, but I understand we need parking in these places. So I would agree that I'm leaning toward option A of maintaining the brick. But I was interested to hear, with the samples you guys were entertaining, switching up the coloring of the brick there compared to the townhouses. Is that what we're bringing those in for?
Well, there's brick samples submitted in this packet. We have an alternate for the dark brick. And we have some other color shades if you'd like to go through. So you want to discuss these real quick?
Sure. The idea was the townhome started with the darker brick. Originally, it was this bourbon trail.
This is the one we rejected today. We thought it was too muddied. A little too textured for what we were looking to do.
We were now proposing this.
A little bit more modern style. Cleaner brick.
You're just talking about big fun.
This is a townhome.
This is actually on the townhome. This here.
And then the idea was that the brick becomes a little lighter as you move up the street. So the parking garage was going to be the Sugar Mountain.
So there's a brick change when you get to the parking garage from the townhome.
And then the apartment complex is going to be the Sugar Creek.
Can you hold the brick up?
Sure.
Yeah, as far as the, discussion today regarding the parking garage change, I think, I would be in favor of the change of the color brick from the townhomes to the, garage, so, yeah, I appreciate you doing the study on the other one, but I would agree that the brick feels more appropriate and, like would fit in with the neighborhood, where it's located.
And the lighter brick on the garage, you like that from townhomes?
Yeah, I'm okay with either or as long as there's that contrast.
Before we continue with the brick samples, I just put clarification, because that was not part of the application for changing material for the townhomes. We did know from the previous one that the shale brick bourbon trail was on these townhomes. Are you intending to change it for the townhomes or the color? Just to clarify for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was not included.
No, this was a change.
This is
literally
today,
today.
okay, so
We got
today.
samples today and we were looking at that and we were not happy with
Okay.
the brick, so we.
I mean, typically we don't allow for new materials to be submitted during the meeting.
Understood.
That's up to the commissioners for that review.
And we don't typically like to do that, but we got you.
Just for clarification.
Paige, either of you, other comments or thoughts at this point?
Yeah,
That's done.
I do.
Yep.
So this rendering doesn't reflect what you're proposing now with the darker brick on the townhomes.
I mean, renderings are difficult to exactly pick up the color, but in the relationship between the 3 different bricks that are on the project, these 2 bricks are not that far off. So we're looking, this was the old one, this is the new one. The rendering isn't exactly picking this color up because
That
of,
sure isn't.
but there's, it's gone through multiple TV displays and
Yeah.
PDF changes, so but that's why we bring samples in to show you what the actual color is going to be.
If I could just weigh in, I really don't think the differences in these colors of brick are enough to satisfy my major concern, and that is that it just looks like the same material that wraps around, and it might be in a shadow, so you're not quite sure if it's the same brick or not. I think that just noticeable differences actually exacerbate the problem when it's in a shadow. My main comment was that you had this kind of block mass to the left or to the south, and you have a block mass to the right. And that before we had a garage that not only didn't match the height of one or the other. It was a different color, if you will, different material, to the point where it had this kind of illusion that you had two blocks and maybe a bridge across from one building to the other, you know, as if it were the Lazarus bridge from the city center to Lazarus building or something like that. Now it feels like a mass contributing to the overall massive block that it really is. So I do think that having option B there was a reasonable sort of response to that comment that you heard before. And if I were forced to choose between these two options, I'd probably go with the one on the right, but I think that we can do better. So I would urge us to, and I'm not necessarily, well, okay. It, in my opinion, needs to feel like it's a separate kind of mass from the other two masses, the other two blocks. And if it could be that it integrates the metal that you're already looking at before, it could be some other kind of screen element, it could be art itself. It could be a stretched canvas or, you know, curved canvas that is an expression of the art instead of trying to be this this mass of masonry. Because, I mean, on top of everything else, it's still these slots that communicate as a garage, so it might be better to discover some other kind of pattern that disguises it. I'm going to ask a general question is, you know, are you sure this third level is required? I mean, it's a big step from what we had before, and how can your calculations be that far off? So, and whether or not the additional parking could contain itself, maybe, you know, not in this bridge area, but somewhere off to the side, so that we don't have this mass issue to begin with. But I'll leave that aside. I'll ask you, other commissioners, to think about other types of materials besides brick, especially these very subtle differences in brick. And I'll go on to a couple other issues that I know you want to hear about. The recess, the way you've approached the recess amenity space is fine, I think. The lighting, I have questions about. You talked about the photometrics, but I didn't quite get how that lays out onto the garage deck itself. And not the least of which is how and if you see the point sources of light, because that's where we're getting the real problems. We're getting a real problem in your Italian Village Park. Seeing point sources, so it may still yet be about that, and that you have to lower the light fixture standards in order to get these point sources to be less visible. Kudos to trying to solve the sweeping car lights and the walls and all that. I think it's fine. And one other thing, the green wall, I get how it's going to be a problem. I would probably favor, as you heard before, an art wall. Maybe it's just an extension. Like maybe this thing just sweeps across the whole garage bridge. And in the future, I invite our commissioners, fellow commissioners, to think about exfoliated trees as opposed to lightweight vines and so forth that might have a little better chance of surviving winter. But I am not supporting either one of these options today. These options. The other things I said I support. I have questions about them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to build on those comments, just a few specific things. I guess I like the idea of the garage piece being less noticeable in Woodinville Way, mostly because of its location. Typically, I wouldn't really think that much of it, just because of the location here, where in the context of the overall area, it's still going to be pretty visible as you're driving down the road. That's right next to this park. So my initial thought was to make that darker than the building. It's just so it was less noticeable. And I don't know if that's
We tried.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the wrong response. But I guess the question is, if you feel really strongly that those townhouses should be the dark color, in the renderings, they actually look like a lighter color, and I was okay with that, which then means you can put the darker color on those. So I get that you wanted them to be dark, and if that's what you want, that's what you want. At the same time, I think there's enough variation around the park. You know, on the north side, those are lighter, more to this scale than on the other side, it's sort of mixed grays and dark bricks. So it's kind of anything. I think there's like no right answer or wrong answer. So my gut instinct would be brick that's closer to the rendering color for the facade of the townhomes, and then using the dark brick for the facade of the garage. And then, you know, ideally, those trees are gonna grow well. They certainly have just down the street from the apartments. So I anticipate that's gonna be a massive additive feature to hide that garage overall. So I don't think it's gonna be a huge issue. That's just kind of initial thought. On the lights, I definitely feel very strongly, most strongly about that issue of anything. And I think Ben is maybe onto something in that, or I know he's onto something, in that we requested this earlier on another garage, and mostly successful, not quite, in having more poles that were shorter poles. And the reason for that is I'm definitely concerned with the number of units and the park and the rooftop decks being able to see those actual lights. There's just, it's hard, even though you have a cutoff fixture when it's 20 feet tall, there's still a lot of room to see underneath it. So I think I'd be very much in favor of you looking at reducing those to 12 foot and just having, you know, 4 more poles instead of, you know, 4 poles at 20, 8 poles or 6 poles at 12, whatever that needs to be. In particular, if the outer ones were facing like into, especially toward Fourth. I know there are units on the other side of Fourth, but by the time you get to the off ramp with the trees and the thing, I think it's probably less likely of an issue as opposed to coming back to the park. So those are really my only 2 things. Everything else I think is looking great and excited to see it go. So
If we put the lights on the outside perimeter facing in, you can shield the light from being seen from the outside on that face, and then you won't see it from the other side because it's blocked by the dome.
That's
From
true.
the perspective.
Yeah, so I think that could be.
But you'll see the pole. So there's a give and take, right? You have a visual pole now. That is, when we're inbound,
You don't see the pole.
it's hidden more. You
Yeah.
still see the light. So I think with 6 one, half dozen the other. I agree, we don't want to have these hot lights shining as we drive around the state.
Yeah, the hot lights, I think, are a bigger concern for me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with that, about the lighting, but I'm gonna go back to, what I was trying to say. Commissioner Sudi said as well that it doesn't appear, I understand renderings and how they work with color, but if I looked at this rendering and with what I see there and went on site and saw the dark brick on the townhomes, I would say, what the heck happened? Because there is no way that I would think that the brick on that townhome is the darker brick. And then I'm gonna go back to something that Commissioner Goodman said about the parking garage and the idea that you might want to study that a little bit more. And you have an art panel that I was glad that I turned this way because I can see it a little more clearly. But if you were to celebrate that facade, to celebrate the pocket park that is there and introduce I think you said a perforated panel or a scrim, didn't you, Ed? That really celebrated that spot. I think that could be really kind of interesting. Right now, so I would question, I'm not in favor of the white panel stuff that I thought was concrete, looking at it this way. But I do think you could do more with the facade of that garage and really bring some life to that area. That was good one, Ben.
Commissioners, other thoughts or comments? Okay, what are your thoughts from hearing all that?
I mean, the lighting, we agree with, we totally get, we will work on that and like with some options. I will address the monitor in our office, brick look close. These monitors, everything's different. So the calibration, it is difficult for renderings to be digitally on your laptop, your phone. So brightnesses on TVs change. So that's why we bring samples. That's why when I'm doing that, we like to see samples and we approve samples, not renderings. But I agree, renderings can be deceiving and it's not necessarily fair or great, but that's, that's kind of where we're at. So we, as we move forward and we revise a proposal for this, we will over accentuate that, knowing the TV monitors that we're seeing here today.
Well, I mean, the brick.
Which is fine.
Having it here.
No doubt, no doubt.
For sure.
We had 18 options maybe we explored on this. We brought two. Bringing more than two is never a good idea. I think the garage dramatically changed from the two-story connective bridge that it had. Now it's a building. Now, especially when we're lining, which was a request, but it ended up working out, the parapets of the townhomes to the garage. Now it's becoming an extension of the townhome style building. Having a similar brick with an alternate color to de-emphasize, emphasizing the change of use seemed appropriate to us. I think in person that the change is dramatic. The renderings is not very dramatic at all. I would be happy to explore further options of either artwork along that garage or expanding some of that. I think we're kind of agreed that the green wall aspect is not going to particularly fly because of the durability and maintenance of that, but we're happy to look at further options of that and bring that back to the board for review.
I propose that we, or I should say, we could separate out the amenity space and vote on that before we continue the rest of the things.
Before we do approach motion, I do apologize about this, but there are a couple other items just of the changing design that have not been addressed yet, so if we could just go over some of those items real quick before continuing to.
Could you just quickly remind us what those are?
Of course. So we did go over the addition of fourth floor, the enlarged area for the future proposed art panel. There is the simplified stairwell door entrance on the east elevation, which we'll need to find the slide for that. So
Gotcha.
yes.
Oh, I say the end of the building, right? Yeah,
It used to be fully glazed with the
Yeah,
rest
gotcha.
glazing the tower, but not simplified. So if I'm correct,
thoughts, and comments on that?
Yeah, I don't have any issues with that, George.
Honestly, I don't have an issue, but it's
just to cover all of our bullet points.
And that door is specifically related to the stair tower. The main entry of the lobby is to the left of that artwork, which is full glass with storefront doors.
I'm a little surprised the architects are okay with that. I mean, that's the whole glazing system leads right down to that spot. So I'm just, you must feel a little heartache.
The intent of that glazing is that faces the park. So as we're leaving the interior doors of the stairway open.
But I'm understanding that her previous door had a storefront side light.
It did.
I'll find out. Okay. Are we there?
Well, yeah, I don't know. It seems to translate into the kind of into the garage entry area.
Yeah, I mean, that's different enough. I mean, if anything, maybe you recess the opening or you push the.
So the challenge there is that's not a main entry to the building. That's the emergency exit from the stair above. It will be used, utilized, but the main entry to the lobby is where that person is standing with the recess in the brick, the large opening to the left. So what happens is it starts to compete for public entry. They're not sure where to go. So we needed to de-emphasize the stair. There were some other structural issues that we were working through, but so we kept the emphasis on the main entry to the lobby, but then de-emphasized the stair entry.
All right, I'll backpedal on that because I mean, the other things are way more important.
I get it. I'd like to have the whole thing pass all the way through, but
Is the main entry to the lobby all glass?
it is. And that's the secondary lobby. The main lobby entry is on the south side of the building. But again, these have use of the park, so we wanted to open up the public spaces the most we can.
I mean, is it fair to say the trade-off is a much larger panel just to the left of it?
I still don't have an issue with it. I think it's right to emphasize the main end, but it's just more intuitive to not complete that. So I'm okay with this change.
Yeah, I'll support it.
So staff, other things that we're missing?
Yes, just a couple other items. So there is the horizontal metal panels, that have been added. We'll go back to the last. Just another detailing between the fourth and fifth windows. It's just an extra.
For vertical floor
Yeah, now they're horizontal, so it's just a different detail.
thoughts?
So a comment on that really quick, if you were in Grandview at Grandview Crossing, both the main boulevard buildings have that exact detail, same material, just rotated. And it gives overall from a distance, it's monolithic, but as you get closer, it gives it articulation and breaks up the facade a little bit, which we much prefer.
Everybody thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I like that it adds a little more interest to the building.
I have no objection.
Oxbrook?
I have no objection.
I have an objection to Google not updating his office.
Right. Every weekend.
I can't remember any new buildings out here anymore.
I do have photos of that. I was at the GVX site today. If you want to see it.
Okay, what else?
One last item.
Okay.
There has been a revision to the southeast corner of the apartment building. It has been realigned stairwell configuration. So instead of having the, double lights above, there's this new articulation window. That's.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were kind of addressing that all together. Are there thoughts about that specific element?
Is that setback? The same plane.
It is in the same plane, material changes, orientation, and it's wrapping and kind of tying into the style of facade on the south side.
Can it be the full height of the windows adjacent with spandrel between or something?
Potentially. What's happening on the fourth floor?
There's just a landing would be right between if it was full.
Yeah, we can look at that.
You would look at that?
Yeah, sure.
I just think that'd be more appropriate if they can accomplish it.
You're saying the sill of the skinny.
The thinner window would be
It's
two-story.
all talk about that labeling there, but
Yeah.
gotcha.
Or would you like, maybe?
The landing, I think the landing. might be an issue.
It's just like above
We
the
can,
top of the third or fourth floor window. So it wouldn't be
there's
dead center.
that's a stair tower, so it's going up. And the landings are coming right at the window height, so, but we can put a mullion in there and make it look like it's glass, but it's not. Spandrel, yeah, it's not a problem.
I think that could be good.
Okay, what else? Yeah.
So those are the last items for the revision. And with that being said, I know Commissioner was talking about splitting. We could split, the items that the commission is in favor for, and of course, maybe the lighting and the garage facade design. Up to commission,
Okay, and then I guess the question would be on this particular issue of the window, whether we would want you to take a look at that or for us to take a look at that.
Yeah. And we could do a subcommittee for that if it's part of the approval, things of that nature.
Bigger question, is this one good?
What is the,
I think I brought this one already.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thirsty. Okay, well, Ben, I think you should make a motion.
And so I apologize, okay. One last item, are the commission in favor of the fourth floor to the garage being added? Or that kind of would be part of the.
I guess part of the continuous.
Yeah, I mean, I think fundamentally it just goes with the design. I think yes, however. But
Yeah.
I understand what this is.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Okay.
I feel emotionally and mentally ready.
Well, I'm trying to see if this changes include, we have 3, 6, 7 bullet items. Did we go through all these?
We did. Yeah, all were addressed in the review.
So the amenity space is space, we spoke very little about the space facing the garage, facing south. But generally speaking, it's something where it's instead of an overhang, it's now been,
Yeah, so we started with an overhang. That's our position. That's what we preferred. But building a wood structure over a type 1 construction it's difficult.
so I think that by and large, we had consensus that that would be an appropriate change under the circumstances. Revised unit layout along the west elevation of the apartment building. Did we cover that?
We did not, I do apologize, that is the one item we did not.
Do you want to cover that real quick?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to appear to be a big difference, but we can look at this elevation. Six. Yes. Number 6, and then, right, I guess it was previously approved. But it doesn't appear to have changed much, I don't believe, in the articulation of the windows and doors. If the applicant has any additional.
It hasn't changed much.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about the material changing, but the windows have not changed, except for the ones that we spoke about earlier.
The horizontal metal panels between the 4th and 5th floor windows of the east elevation of the apartment, is that what we're also what we're talking about here?
I'm sorry.
Horizontal metal panels, did we talk about this? Horizontal metal
Yes.
panels between the 4th and 5th floors?
Yes,
Remind me.
yes, so that's the turning of the material.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Simplified stairwell, door entrance, we got that, enlarged area for future proposed arc panel on the east elevation. That's gonna be, continued, right? We're gonna continue the addition of the 4th floor on the garage, the enlarged area for future proposed arc panel. And I'm just gonna say that the window for the southeast corner of the apartment building, that we said might be something, let's just push that to this.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna move on application 24-06-013, Phase 10 Jeffrey Park. That we continue for the applicant to further study the addition of the 4th floor of the garage and its associated material types and parapet height and relationship to the arc panel. So I am also including the enlarged area for the future proposed arc panel as part of that moving forward.
And then lighting.
And the lighting on the garage will be continued so that the applicant can explore other standards at different heights and photometrics and quantities. And that we are going to continue also this study of the southeast corner of the apartment building, so with a longer window with the spandrel piece so that you can just have time to look at that. Keep that on the same time. Good. So that'll be A.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so that's continued.
Application, motion B will be about approval of the amenity space in the south elevation of the overlooking garage, the revised unit layout on the west elevation of the building, the windows on the south, the horizontal metal panels between the 4th and 5th floor windows on the east elevation, and the simplified stairwell door. I move to approve as submitted here tonight.
Anything else we need in there, staff?
I don't believe so. I guess the other The other element which was brought to us this evening was the change in the brick coloring for the townhomes. That was not a part of this application initially, but if the commission would like to approve that or would need further information on
I
that.
guess part of it is asking the applicant, it sounds like there may be options to still continue looking at overall brick. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think.
I would say I would tie that to the garage,
Yeah.
right? That all the materials would tie together.
But we're,
yeah.
but we're,
Leave it.
but we're okay leaving that new element in this application or adding it.
If the commission is fine with that,
I
it's,
think that's appropriate.
because that's a conversation about the materiality of the garage, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so with all that, do I have a second? All in favor? Oh, yeah, I guess that's it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Well, good progress.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other questions you have for us before we jump?
I don't think so.
I'm good.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you very much.
And before we go to the last application, I apologize for the headache, 5 minutes.
Yes. Take 5 reasons. We met.
And the revisit of that.
Where it is now.
If it.
I'm gonna mute while we're taking 5.
We are all back,
Okay,
if we are all ready. For a
we
little
are back. So 54 and 56 East Third Avenue, IV-24-06-01. All right, once you get settled in, have you raise your right hand and state your name for the record.
Shaylin Jackson. Amanda Williams.
And you promise to tell the truth in your testimony this evening.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Great, thank you. Staff?
The proposed work description is to convert a two-unit back to its original single-family dwelling, removal of rear porch and steps to access second floor entrance, close off rear second floor entrance, repair by patching of existing siding to be Dutch lap 4.5-inch vinyl siding to match existing, siding to be painted Sherwin-Williams 2845 Bungle House gray, close off side entrance and remove existing stair, repair brick and fill to match the existing brick, remove the siding existing garage door. Apologies. And install a new two-door garage door. Sorry. Two-car garage door to be ideal door, traditional 16 feet by 7 feet, door to be white. Replace existing light fixtures with new light fixture, which is Progress Lighting Squire. An applicant will be submitting drawings and plan for front porch rebuild design at a later date. Which the applicant is actually included in this. It is not part of the application at this time, just for clarification, but just for background information. Application is a response to a code violation. Applicant has currently removed the deteriorated backside of story porch. At the June business meeting, the commissioners made the following statements and recommendations. Commissioner stated that it would be a great opportunity to replace the vinyl in the rear addition rather than repair. They would recommend possibly a hardy plank product. They asked if the addition is historic or non-historic, which HBO staff will look into. They're flexible to get the property back to a single unit. They recommended to see the porch design with this application, but are fine with what has been submitted for review. They asked for more information on the windows, doors, and box gutters, and what is the plan with those items. They need to discuss the application further after hearing. Applicant has submitted a rendering of the future proposed porch replacement design as requested by the commission. Additionally, the commission asked about further information about the windows, doors, and box gutters. Applicant and HBO staff had previously touched base on the proposed work. The applicant is intending to restore the original windows and existing box gutters. They've sent a COA application for those items, but still need some additional materials to finalize that application. Those items can typically be staff approved, so we're still in communication about that. Staff note, we would be in support for converting the building back into a single family dwelling unit. Proposed closure of openings. We recommend applicant to look into alternative options such as installing a fixed door that follows the IV guidelines. It does appear that the rear addition is historic based off of 1901 and 1921 Sanborn maps included in the materials. We'd also recommend that a two-car garage door either be two separate doors or to give the appearance of two separate doors. Staff recommends to continue application IV 24-06-014 to allow applicant time to look into alternative design for closing off existing openings, as well as to submit a COA application for the front porch replacement for future commission review. Basis of staff rec is standards for alteration 31-16-11. And that's all.
Okay, great. Do you have for us today?
She pretty much covered everything. I will say I did answer your questions on the box gutters and the windows. Box gutters, we don't think they need to be touched. We're just asking to paint them. They've already been taken care of, I believe, when they did the roof the last time. So those pictures I sent you are the aerial view, just showing you that they've already at some point been lined.
Yeah.
So we are just asking for the paint color. Windows, yes, we would be reworking those to the original weight and pulley systems and taking out the chutes. And then the storm windows would remain. They would just be rescreened where the screens are damaged. Outside of that, I think you kind of hit it all. The only thing I would say is I don't believe there's enough clearance to put in two garage doors that would not be wide enough for the original opening. But we could look at options to make it look like a two separate carriage garage door.
And then did you cover the siding issues as well?
What
Vinyl siding issues?
I As discussed at the business meeting, of course, was to look at our plan, but did not hear back from the applicant about that. Thought we could discuss it further at the hearing. Our recommendation would just be to kind of keep what's there now and just use a faux door to close off the opening. If the intent is not to redo the whole siding at this time. But, of course, that can be discussed further.
Do you guys have any objection to that?
I would rather reset the whole thing than.
With hardy plank? Okay.
Okay. There we go.
All right, well, let's talk about it. Who wants to start?
I can go for it.
Okay.
First, I want to say thanks so much for a very clear presentation. It's super helpful when we're going through all this, so that was definitely great when we were looking through, especially when it's a lot of different changes like this for a renovation. But
Yeah.
thanks for that. So I guess going through these, the one question I had for you was on page 5. Yeah, I just wanted to confirm there's that red square along that elevation. Is that just showing that like that's the siding you were matching? Because
Yes.
yeah, the one thing I think here is the removal of that door and
Yeah.
infilling with vinyl and then repainting. Okay.
Yeah.
Wanted to confirm that, and then the garage door, yeah, we've seen, I think we've had approvals for this in the past where the width is wanted to have that like larger size garage door, but there's options that you probably are familiar with that make it seem like 2 different panels of garage doors within one larger one, and we'd be totally, or I would be totally accepting of that instead of needing 2 different garage doors. And then the porch was, I think, the only other thing I wanted to touch on. The precedent photo is really nice. I did want to say, I don't know if it's maybe that the scale is just off, but to me, the columns on the porch right now look very thin. But in the precedent photo, I think they seem appropriate for the size.
Yeah.
I don't know if it might be because of how the roof itself overhangs quite a bit from the right column.
Okay.
So I think that there's just some, I guess the first question is the right side of the overhang, is that in line with the?
It should be in line with the
building.
With the building, sorry.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it just maybe reads a little off there. So, if that helps to confirm, because it looks like the base of the concrete lines up as well, so that the
Yeah.
column wouldn't be too far off.
Mm-hmm.
On the second slide, you have a measurement there, right? So. It's just a better, okay.
So yeah, I guess maybe just, is there any kind of dimensioned elevation of that front porch?
On the second sheet, I can't tell on the slide, sorry.
I think I put it more on the plans that I think we submitted.
Separately.
Separately.
At the very
Mhm.
bottom. Yeah.
There we go.
Not that one, but that one, yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I think just understanding the relationship to the side of the roof to that column, to the
Okay.
side of the building would be helpful.
Okay.
Wonderful.
That's all for Joe.
Yeah, it looks like that porch roof was extended out too far in the render. Were you gonna deal with stuff flashing? Porch roof?
So we were just going to match the existing roof. We haven't submitted all those materials yet. We were just submitting for initial preservation of the porch to make sure it was historically appropriate, because we can't find any photos anywhere showing what was potentially there. So we just want to make sure we're on the right path before we dig too deep into all those details.
I think we're,
Oh, this is a nice package. Thank you for doing it. I think they, pretty like you're able to use that material would be much better than, the
Okay.
yeah, vinyl. And, you know, I think it's the lack of detail in the porch posts that maybe make them appear too spindly for the height. And I wonder, it does look like the front fascia on the porch is, shorter than the side, you know, so. And I wonder if you, kept that at the lower height, which is on the side, the deeper fascia, if you might add a little more detail, similar to what's in your precedent. It seems like there's a couple more steps there that might help, with just kind of making that feel a little more, of what it might have been.
Yes, so I would say we recommended adding some of that dental molding to that fascia, just to help it be more monumental and
Yeah.
reiterate that kind of traditional aesthetic for the house.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
I'm sorry. You'd like to go first. I just have an element to,
I'm just gonna take that just a step further. I think the clearest thing for you and for us is if you do a proper section of that porch.
Okay.
That's through the roof as well. So
Okay.
so far you have it through the deck.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta carry it all the way up through, because you're gonna discover things about the way that post meets, and I really think you might owe it to yourself just to look at a section in both directions, so that you get the overhangs to be the same, and you get to see how that facial works out. I will say that, on my Italian brick home, the concrete deck of the porch actually extends beyond the edge of the house. And that's in part because when you get the overhang that needs to finish out a certain way, you're trying to get the post to carry down the right place, it starts to land in a place you didn't expect. So I think you're going to end up rethinking how big that concrete deck is. And I think if it gets a little bit bigger, it's no big deal. I don't think. As long as you get this continuity that everybody's talking about. Traveling down, we're flying all the way down to the porch. The last thing you want is have a post that starts to hang off the edge of the deck. So, which we see a fair amount of. It happens. I am supportive of the single garage door. I'm supportive of the removing the rear door of the second story, although I would ask that you consider, or have you considered, just letting that go back to a window, which is probably what it was before it was a door.
Can't
I can't remember exactly.
We can, yeah, we
Yes.
can look on the interior plans.
If
I
I've
believe that
been
kitchen is turning to a
window,
bathroom.
Yeah, I think it might be a bath.
So,
I believe there's a shower intended to go there.
Yeah.
So,
there's a shower intended to go there.
Mhm.
I see.
in
Well, you
the,
still may want a small window, but
Yeah.
let's suffice to say, I think that's something you should consider, and maybe others would agree.
and I will say in that same room on the interior, there are 2 windows. And that would put 2 windows right next to each other in a different scale. So I'm not,
Yeah, and I'm responding just from the sort of
From
integrity
an
of the way the exterior elevation
yeah.
reads. But if you need to cover it up, so be it. I think that we can probably support that.
sure.
The side entrance, are we talking about just patching that?
Patching that in
Patching.
brick.
Yeah, brick, okay. I think that's, I support that.
Yeah, the header
So-
that's there does not look like it was intended to be there.
And I totally support going to hardy plank first. If you are willing to go to that expense of replacing on vinyl, it would be a lot better finished product, I'm sure on that. So I think my main ask is focus on a good porch outcome. I think that'll be the most important part of your project in person.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add other than to reiterate that I definitely support the replacement of the siding with hardy plank. I think that's going to be a great addition to your project. I'm okay with removing the door. And really, thanks for coming in as stewards of a house that's seen better days, it's a great way to start to, change that edge of that street and the kind of perception of that little tiny section in there where it's a little bit haphazard right now, so that's pretty great.
Yeah.
I know in the guidelines, it talks about 2 garage doors, and I also know that I don't think we've actually got a situation where we could fit a 2 garage door situation more than 10% of the time, so I know making it look like 2 doors has been our kind of our intermediate. I'm pretty lukewarm on that solution at this point. I mean, it's fine. I don't know if it really, I know it's very convincing, is what I'm saying. So I don't really care about that at this point. I think that's something we kind of need to revisit. I think it's a great noble idea. And then we all decided in the entire country that we were gonna buy giant cars. So
If it makes any difference, the historic commission just changed their standpoint on that as well to the single door because it's become such a problem.
Yeah, and I'd love it if we could maintain that look everywhere and actually use it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, typically we can't. So for me, I mean, whatever, if it's a regular normal garage door, I'm okay with it. So with that, it sounds like there's been some interest in continuing the porch portion. Staff, would you be okay with doing that as a subcommittee, or what do you think to do?
For the porch, since it wasn't part of this application, since we didn't have all the materials in time, we'd recommend that be submitted as a new application to come in. So this was kind of more of like a concept feedback, I guess. So the applicant can send a new application for that to come and review. I will say real quick, actually, with the siding, of course, we're in support of already playing over vinyl, the vinyl neighborhood. But with it being an historic addition, potentially, we would want to investigate underneath that vinyl siding to see if there is any original siding first before we went, fully into hardy plank for the replacement. So just a quick FYI.
Yeah, so if you're willing to do that on the staff level, and then obviously if there's an issue and, and they're gonna, want to pivot back to their more temporary solution with the vinyl, then we could discuss that. I think I'd like to open it up to full replacement with hardy plank as a more long-term solution if that ends up being.
After the exploratory construction began.
All right, are you okay with all of that?
We
We've talked about? All right, great. So you have to work with staff then on taking a look at the existing siding underneath the vinyl and submitting application for the portion there for that. Everything else sounds like.
Oh, can I ask one more question? Sorry. The original steps are there for the porch currently. Is it okay to just reuse those and build to that?
Yeah, those are the.
I think there's a picture up in the very front, but
For the front door,
there's no porch, there's nothing there, but there are some steps, so we didn't get it. It's behind the trash can. There are some original steps. I'll get you a better picture.
Limestone?
They are limestone.
Oh, you're asking if you could reuse that?
Yeah, the steps are fine. There's just nothing else.
Yes,
I'm done, yes.
Okay.
Please do.
And then there is a door on the side there. Unfortunately, there's not limestone steps there. Is that something you would recommend on a concrete level, or what should we get you a wood cut? What's best?
Yeah, actually, the staff could recommend a couple options, so.
yeah, it would be concrete or limestone steps as well could be used. If you would like, since it's not part of this application at this time, that can be included with the porch.
With the porch. Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Or could be stacked, but we'll go there eventually.
Thank you so much.
Has anybody ever extended that porch across and down to that side entry, so then it's all one level? Is that
It's wrapping around?
that wraps around? Has anybody ever?
I will say from our sandboards, it doesn't appear that was traditionally what was there. It would have just been in that corner.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, in that corner on the right-hand side, just a note from the sandboard and historical.
But it could be that you could have some sort of awning, like just a short, little shelter over the door.
Over the
side
door,
doors.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I was in wrong locations.
Oh,
yeah.
I think they were talking about wrapping it in a porch on the ground.
Yeah.
You're right. I just think that there might be another solution that you could
Okay.
benefit the future.
Wonderful.
All righty.
Thank you for your time.
All right, great. So do I have a motion on the continuation portions and on the approval portions?
So moved.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me iterate that.
It's
Consensus.
We could list out the continued items, that would be wonderful.
So we are going to continue the following, the porch is a new application, so that's going to continue.
Yes, so that is a separate, that's not part of this at this moment.
So really, we're not continuing any.
So the only thing that's continued is maybe the investigation of the siding issue. Is that accurate?
How do you want to word that, or just approval contingent?
That's a hard one, because we don't have the additional evidence that we need to go for full approval for the hardy plank. I would probably just recommend continuing so we can get that additional information and then move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
we're,
the continuation cannot be staff approved.
Potentially, depending on what we find in the investigation. So we'll do an exploratory, like different patches on the side, just to see if there's original siding. And if you still want to continue with the hardy plank, that would have to come back to the commission.
so I guess that's the question. We'd love to allow them to do that if the staff review does not.
Well, let's just approve it conditionally.
We can't do that as well. I mean, under staff review, if the siding is in.
Are they okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. And then maybe come back to the commission again.
So that now we just have an approval motion.
That's it.
All right, I move to approve application 24-06-014, 54 and 56 East Third Avenue to approve all the elements of the application presented here tonight, with the exception of the front porch was not part of this application, and that the patch siding is now being considered by the applicant to be replaced by another siding product such as hardy board or another sculpted wood product, but to be first investigated by staff to see if there is any original siding below the vinyl that can be healed and restored.
Overall, they're siding.
And that's
I think that's the clarification, right? The overall siding replacement instead of patch.
and if it's, in which case, an overall replacement. If the siding, current siding beneath is not good enough condition, could be totally replaced. On the investigation and, I don't know, decision-making of the staff.
All right, does that work?
Did you follow that?
I
Yes.
did. Oh,
We're good.
sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
Very good.
A couple seconds, you can choose. And all in favor? Aye. Opposed and abstentions. Okay, great. And we look forward to seeing you back with the porch. Good luck.
Thank you.
We have to go back and vote on an applicant who did not attend. Right?
Yes.
And that is IB-0246009-1062 Mount Pleasant. I have a motion to continue
I would continue on that application schedule.
and a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions. Okay, what is continued? All right, what else do we have on this agenda?
Nothing per se, but of course,
It's cookies.
there's cookies.
Dude.
For Commissioner Goodman's last hearing, just wanted to say, of course, a big thank you.
This is what I get.
No, yeah, but that's for me. That's for me. That's my portion. There's other things, but. No, it's just someone left in there, you can take it, but no. But, of course, the thank you from the city and myself, but the city as well, for all your effort as a commissioner and all the time that you've input for reviews and applications and the things that have been done for a tiny village. So just want to say thank you, and of course, if any of the commissioners have anything to say. Again, the cookies are just for
You don't have
whoever fills that seat is, that's big.
That's a big seat to
fill.
fill, yes.
Which certainly is. I really haven't had, I have not seen any commissioners be able to help our applicants as much as Ben has. And I think his attention to detail and the breadth of his knowledge is pretty phenomenal. And I think it's too bad for us.
Yeah, I'll just say, definitely starting, I wasn't exactly sure what I was getting into and everything, but, I've learned a lot to kind of how you look at the projects that come through, in different ways you've looked at them, different, elements that you kind of pointed out has definitely helped me here and in just my professional work. So I guess I just want to say that I definitely have learned a lot and will be sad that that's getting cut short, but thanks for all the knowledge that you've shared. It has definitely helped me think about things in different ways too.
Also, in short time around the commission, been very impressive and I've learned a lot in that short time. It's really great to have you as part of this and excited to see you go.
No doubt. Yeah, Ben's one of the OGs on the commission back from when kind of got blown up and reformed. And it's a lot of things. I mean, it's certainly signage, architectural expertise, and, paying attention to some things that a lot of times we also forget. Big advocate for things that we do all the time now. Think about, pervious paving, just think about the way that we approach sign materiality, the way we approach streetscape, the way we approach these overall variety of projects. And I think that's one of the things that I've always really admired about Ben is his ability to adapt his help for the people in front of the commission based on a really wide variety of folks that have come in over the years. We get a lot of professional developers and a lot of professional investors now. And it did not used to be the case. We used to have a lot of residents who were drawing stuff on the back of literally on napkins, or scrap pieces of paper. And it was a lot different then. And man, we did some 5, 6, 7 hour meetings back when this was a lot of dirt fields out there and a lot of abandoned buildings. And it's great to be in this spot where, this expertise is able to be really translated. These are, I think, pretty efficient meetings, get through a lot of stuff. So Ben's sorely going to be missed. All that being said, Ben and I've been on this commission off and on together over the years. So you never know. This is a done deal for that. The things happen. Time to change, it's like it's change. And hopefully you will enjoy having a few more hours of your month. At this point, I know you're still going to be involved in the neighborhood, and I certainly would not be sad to see you back in someday.
Appreciate it. I just want to share back to you that I learned so much from you guys in many of those moments, just from pushing back on things that I thought were important that weren't, or just different perspective. And I have certainly learned a lot by sitting on this commission about architecture and planning and how public space works and how process works, especially in the public realm. And, even down to how to form a proper motion. It's not always perfect, but
That's a big one.
That's a big one, yeah.
Never volunteer.
I'd urge you to try. And I will look forward to a few extra hours during the week. I will say that I'll miss being on here for just the opportunity to impact a public realm, or in my case, my neighborhood. And I would be happy to serve in some future, I think. But I think we'll leave good. I leave in good hands with you guys. I will say for the record once again that if whatever you can do to lean in on making sure my replacement comes as quickly as possible, because there's no benefit in changing voices if there's no voice. So if you would, on my behalf, just lean in on keeping that fire then under both the Department of Development and City Council that is responsible for approving commissioner. I appreciate it. Thank you, Seth, for being tolerant and kind. Fire interactive.
No, it's been great to be part of Italian Village so far, and of course to be able to, be a staff member, you being a member, so it's been, we learned a lot, of course, all the feedback that you've given for all these applications, so really appreciate that.
All right, is it time to go?
I think it's time. Would you care to make a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
All right, can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting